What's good, y'all? Rich Sosa back in the building with another banger, man. So, first things first, before we get any further into it, I want to go ahead and say thank you, God, for giving me this opportunity. And, man, y'all already know what y'all need to do. Be sure to hit that sub button if you're new. Anybody who wants to join RGF, the Rich Gang family, be sure to go ahead and turn on post notifications, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below when done. Now, I hope y'all are having a great Wednesday, middle of the week, almost going to be finishing strong. Today, as y'all can see by the looks of the title and the screen, and I'm hoping you have been following along, I'm dropping y'all the top 3 most rare, unique, best point forward builds. And the best thing about this is that each of these point forwards are going to have their own specific name. Now, I'm not going to tell y'all, but I'm going to hint to it. Some of them might be called a two-way point forward, 3-point point forward, power point forward. I'm telling y'all, I got y'all lined up with some of the most fire build names, as well as with what these rare builds are going to be able to do. So first up, I got the point forward for y'all. Straight a point forward. This is actually the build that I love to use when it comes down to current gen. Probably my favorite all around because I am able to play center at the 3 when it comes down to this build. Now, when it comes down to these stats, be sure to follow along, pick the same pie chart that I did as well as the physical profile. But when it comes down to the breakdown of the badges, as you can see, 4 finishing, 11 shooting, 27 playmaking, and then we're going to end it off with 10 defensive badges, y'all. Now, for our setup of badges, I am really liking it, and a key thing about this build as well is once you hit, I believe, around 97 or 98 overall, I'm pretty sure it's 97, you're going to be able to get park dunks on this build. Really nice. And even though we don't have the threshold of getting contact dunks, I'm telling you right now, I have gotten contact dunks with this build myself. I have showed y'all in recent gameplay. Now, when it comes down to everything on this build, the physicals are the most important because this build is very specific all around. So, what you want to go ahead and do when it comes down to the height, as you can see, I went with 6'7", but when it comes down to the weight, I'm going to go ahead and put this to 188. That's going to be perfect for my preference and my liking. Then, when it comes down to the wingspan, now this is completely up to how you want to go about it. For my liking, 82.0 is looking good, but then again, if you go ahead and raise it to the max, you definitely can do that as well. You do risk changing the build name, but anyways, we still will be getting the lockdown takeover all around. Now, with this way that I'm making it, you're actually going to be able to get the park dunks at 96 overall. I'm going to go ahead and pick the lockdown defender takeover. And as y'all can see, we have made the point forward build. I'm telling y'all, this is easily the best point forward build that you will be seeing. I know there are other builds with the same name that do get contact dunks, but this one is going to be the one that you're going to be able to play big with, as well as honestly being a huge offensive threat. Now, that is the main reason why I went about making that build how I did. Now, the second one that I got lined up for y'all, another point forward build name. This one's gonna be different than what I just showed y'all. I'm not talking about just the build name, but the stats and everything else that does go into it. Now, keep in mind, this is still a point forward, but the build name is not gonna be just a straight point forward. It's actually going to have the point forward name in it, but something mixed in with it as well. Very special build, and I'm excited to bring them to y'all. Now let's go ahead and get into the breakdown of this build. As you can see, there are so many different pie charts that you can pick with being able to find these point forward names. That's just how I go about it. But when it comes down to the physical profile, for me, I would definitely have to say I always like to pick the 4th or the first one when it comes down to using a build that's going to be able to dribble. Now, let's go ahead and get into the breakdown of this build. Keep in mind, this is still a point forward, just a little bit different when it comes down to the name, but it still does have that point forward name, making it out of the power forward position as y'all seen earlier. Now, when it comes down to the finishing on this build, 15 finishing badges. When it comes down to the shooting, you're actually going to be able to get 15 as well, or you can go ahead and raise it to where you even get 20. Now, this all comes down to how you want to go about it, but I'm telling you right now, as long as you feel comfortable with the setup that you're running, I promise you, like I always tell y'all, everything is going to work out in your favor. Now, as you can see, for the playmaking, we're going to be able to get 7 badges, and this build is definitely different from the first one that I did show y'all. This one is actually going to be able to play a little bit more bigger in my opinion, especially because we're making it out of the power forward position other than the small forward. Now, this is pretty much the setup that I like. Now, if you want to change anything about this build to where you do get more badges on the shooting end, all you have to do for that is lower the mid-range shot and then put the rest of the stats into any area on the shooting. Now, this is the way that you can go about it. You have 2 different ways to make this build. I'm just trying to put y'all on. Now, I have to admit the height on these point forward builds is probably the most crucial thing about it. With this one, we're going to be able to go with 6'7", but as you can see, when it came down to the badge count, very different from the first point forward. Now, when it comes down to the wingspan, instead of changing it like we did on the previous build, we're actually going to go ahead and leave it as is at 85.0. You're going to be able to get more contact dunk packages. Then on top of all that, when it comes down to the park dunk stat as well. But if you want to change anything about this build, just remember, like I said earlier, all you got to go ahead and do is put whichever stats you want into the mid-range shot. Then from there, you can go ahead and flip-flop. If you want to go ahead and put more into the free throw and post fade, you definitely can do that, or even balance it out a little bit more. Now, pretty much everything is going to remain the same when it comes down to this, but right here we do get the shot creating takeover. I like the slashing as well. There's so many different ways that you can go about it. I'm gonna end up with the sharpshooting takeover, and as y'all can see, just to go with the name, the 3-point power forward, y'all. Now, we have one final build lined up for y'all. I'm telling you, all of them are really nice, but this next one definitely going to be something special. If you are still watching, go ahead and let me know in the comment section which build you are going to be making, as well as what you think about the banger, man. I would appreciate it. I love interacting with y'all. So the more that y'all comment, the more that I'm going to be responsive. And again, I just need every one of y'all to know that if you are here right now watching, I appreciate y'all. Do one thing extra today in order to be ahead tomorrow. Whatever goal you have on your mind, go ahead and make a plan how to achieve it. And I promise you, God is going to push you in that direction to where you want to be. Now, that's just my daily inspiration for y'all. I got to go ahead and give y'all a taste of my mindset because, again, we are the Rich Gang family, y'all. So I gotta put y'all on with what I know and the knowledge. Now let's go ahead and get back into the making of this final build. Now, as you can see, again, we are gonna be making this build out of the power forward position. But when it comes down to these pie charts, now I know for those of you who have already made point forwards, you can actually make them out of more than just one pie chart. Not just the playmaking, but you can even make one with the playmaking and slashing, playmaking and sharpshooting. And today, that's the one we're going to be picking, the playmaking and slashing. Playmaking and sharpshooting might have to be one for the future. Y'all most definitely know that I will bring it to y'all if you want it. Go ahead and drop a like if that is the case, and I got y'all without a doubt. Now let's go ahead and get into the breakdown of when it comes down to the badges. So as you can see, on the playmaking side, we're going to be able to get a good amount of badges. With my liking, I'm going to go ahead and leave it at 26 playmaking badges. When it comes down to the defensive, I'm going to go ahead and say 5 is going to be good enough, 12 for the shooting, and then finally, when it comes down to the finishing, here is where things are really special. 12 badges, 1 remaining attribute upgrade left. Go ahead and put this wherever you want to, but I'm telling you, all of this is really just because I want to be sure to make these builds specific, but also bringing them the best way possible to y'all. So just know that I go back and forth with making sure that the badge setups are right, as well as the stats themselves. Now, a key thing about this specific build is we're making it out of the metric system other than the Imperial. So all you got to go ahead and do is go into your settings, change it from the Imperial system to the metric, or vice versa. And that's going to be in the units of measurement. So do not worry, it's just in the settings. Go ahead and do that, and y'all most definitely will see it. Now, just be sure to follow along exactly with what I show y'all, because as you can see on this version of this build, we will be getting contact dunks. Now, whichever wingspan you pick, just make sure you base it off of how you would like to play. Now, as you can see, the playmaking, post scoring, slashing, and shot creating takeover, all of these are some really good options. Regardless, for me, the key thing here is that I wanted to be able to get contact dunks at least on one of these builds. Now, pick whichever takeover that you like. And again, just know that I appreciate y'all, I love y'all, and I thank y'all. And as y'all can see, we have made the point power forward. Shout out to the Rich Gang family, man. Y'all already know what y'all need to do. Be sure to hit that sub button if you're new. Be sure to go ahead and turn on post notifications. Hit that like button and drop a comment down below when done. Thank you, God, for giving me this opportunity. Thank y'all for showing out and showing up every day. And man, with all that being said, I got one last thing to say. Rich out.